The Camargue is a vast wetland located on the banks of the Mediterranean Sea. It is home to exceptional fauna and flora. 3 managerial structures work towards the preservation of this unique natural heritage: the Camargue Regional Nature Park, the Camargue National Nature Reserve, and the Tour du Valais. Located along the bird's migratory axis from northern Europe to Africa, the Camargue is, to many species, an important stop. Among the emblematic bird species that live in the region, the flamingo is one of the most famous. It lives in groups composed of several hundred to several thousand individuals.
Aujourd'hui, il est présent sur tout le littoral méditerranéen français.
Nowadays, the flamingo can be found on the entire French Mediterranean coastline in lagoons and humid areas. This species has adapted to saline environments because it has a nasal gland that filters salt. Its filter beak allows it to find invertebrates, but also eggs, some small fish, and rice seeds in the water or in sediments. At the national level, the flamingo is a protected species, but currently, with 20,000 breeding couples, it is not an endangered species.
The flamingo has not always been present in the Camargue. At the end of the 60s, it stopped reproducing in the Mediterranean. At that time, the Tour du Valais had a key role in the conservation of this species. This managerial structure created an artificial island, allowing the return of a breeding population in the Camargue. Since then, the population has increased sharply. With less than 900 individuals in 1965, there are now about 38,000 flamingos in the Camargue. This increase has stabilized for about 5 years. Currently, the flamingo is no longer an endangered species and has begun to form other colonies in the Mediterranean basin. The Camargue is also a unique agricultural territory. In the region, the farming activity is essentially based on the cattle breeding and on salt and rice production. The specificity of this type of agriculture can be explained by the geographical situation of the Camargue. Indeed, because they are close to the sea, lands are salty. However, the rice production requires a large amount of fresh water to desalinate the lands. As a consequence, rice production has emerged in the Camargue after the Second World War in order to feed the population and to desalinate the lands. Land irrigation, due to rice production, makes it possible to produce other agricultural plants, such as wheat. Rice production is much subjected to climatic hazards and to invasive species. Moreover, for several years, the production has been threatened by groups of flamingos coming into the paddies in order to feed. Those incursions are causing a real problem for some rice producers.
Les rizières, c'est pour eux un apport alimentaire important.
Rice fields constitute an important food supply for flamingos, especially during the nesting period where they need more energy. In theory, rice isn't their staple food, but rice fields are very attractive to them.
Those recidivist incursions begin to affect the agricultural world.
We have had flamingo incursion almost every year for 10 to 15 years, in particular during the soaring period. There are several types of damages. Flamingos damage the entire plot. In this case, the field must be sown again, and sometimes it's just a part of the plot that is damaged and it can be hard to detect it.
Farmers are under a lot of pressure. Indeed, flamingo incursions have an important economic impact on their incomes. Moreover, there are also psychological consequences for farmers. Indeed, they have to scare flamingos all night long if they don't want them to settle on their lands.
Usually, we drive around the rice fields between midnight and 5 a.m. We try not to have set times. We try to scare them away before they land, because it's very difficult to make them leave once they are settled. Every rice producer sends the flamingos to his neighbor, so it's like an endless ping-pong game. The winner is the one that sleeps the least.
In order to limit flamingo incursion, several measures have been suggested to rice producers.
During the past few years, we have tried to gather all the people involved. The Tour du Vala, the French Rice Center, and the Camargue Regional Nature Park, in order to find solutions. Two main factors explain the presence or absence of flamingos in rice fields. The first one is the presence of hedges on the rice lands. We know that as soon as there are hedges near rice lands, there are fewer flamingos, especially if there are hedges all around the lands. The land area shouldn't be too big. It's more complicated when the area is over 2 hectares. There are two reasons for this phenomenon. Flamingos are fearful and they need to see what is going on around them. And they are heavy birds, so they need a long distance to take off, therefore hedges can disturb them.
An agro-environmental measures has been proposed in order to give a compensation rise to producers in return for planting hedges. However, it has never been contractualized because it wasn't appropriate.
To avoid crop destructions, the Tour du Vala and the Camargue Regional Nature Park have proposed to plant hedges. But I think it's useless on big plots. The idea was to go back to smaller plots. However, it was like taking a step backwards and it would decrease the yield.
Several scary methods have also been tested.
Le parc travaille sur cette thématique.
The park has been working on the issue for several years. Indeed, many studies have been conducted to fight this scary system. To this end, the park gives scary tools through distribution campaigns. Several tools have been tested, like helium-filled balloons, gas guns that make noise, guns crackling walkies, brain-fire guns.
Currently, the measures proposed are insufficient and fail to stop incursions completely. The damages caused continue to affect the agricultural world. Tensions between managers and some rice producers are emerging, and some extreme cases of firing on flamingos have been noted.
I think that rice producers don't want to shoot flamingos. I'm not saying that they don't do it, but only that they don't want to do it. Unfortunately, we know that it's the only efficient thing.
What is the situation today? The dialogue between managers and rice producers seems to be running out of steam. Rice producers are hoping for better adapted solutions. All the more so as flamingo incursions are more and more important and affect a rice field which had been preserved till now.
Flamingos have moved and as a consequence, other rice fields have been damaged. More people are aware of the problem and it's a good thing. The only possible measure would be for the park, the Tour du Vala and the Conservatoire to manage their land in order to turn them into attractive places for flamingos. This way, the birds will be attracted to the protected areas instead of the rice fields.
Since July 2014, the Camargue Regional Nature Park has decided to play its mediator role by calling a specialized association in order to revive and animate the debate between the different people involved.
The main issue was to remotivate and restore a dialogue. We'll be facing the problem of flamingo incursions again next sprint, so we must react on the short term. However, we can also look forward to finding medium and long-term solutions.
What came out of the discussions between the different people involved is a possibility to carry out some tests on natural habitats in order to make them more attractive to flamingos. Another solution will be to create a surveillance system between rice producers, so they could warn each other when they observe flamingo incursions. However, to deal with this problem, many simultaneous actions will have to be offered both in order to limit rapidly the incursions and also to come out with a long-term solution. Currently, none of the devices that have been tested is completely efficient to fight flamingo incursions. Rice producers, also they are fed up with the situation, don't wish to see flamingo leaving the area. To them, it remains a Camargue emblematic species which belong to its environment and its culture.
Gonna